What is going on, y'all? Thank you for joining us here on the Mission Ready Men briefing. Today is Thursday, March 20th, the year of our Lord 2025. So you either, well, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And that is Elon Musk's reality at the moment. Um, so we got that. We got activist judges um, facing impeachment, which is a good thing. Um, and we got leftists who are projecting their just utter ridiculousness onto everyone else. So we're going to get into all of that. But thank you for joining us here on the Mission Ready Men briefing on the SHR Media Network. And you can follow this show on all the socials at Mission Ready Men on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or X if you prefer, and Truth Social, and even TikTok, even though I admittedly haven't been on TikTok really at all recently. I do need to change that, but we'll see how that goes. But and if you like the shirt I'm wearing, head over to missionreadymen.com, click on Shop 7 Armors, and check out this shirt, this Live Free or Die design, and all the other great designs that we have over there on 7 Armors. All right. You know what? That's it. So let's get after it. AOC once said recently that Elon Musk is the dumbest billionaire that she's ever seen. Now, I'm not sure how many billionaires she's ever really come in contact with, even though I guess given her position in Washington, she probably has come across a few. But she said that Elon Musk is the dumbest. That is a bold statement coming from a bartender that I know from the time that I have spent in bars. I know some bartenders who are infinitely smarter than her. At an establishment I used to frequent regularly in my mid to late 20s, one of the bartenders there was a chemical engineer, and she just chose to tend bar. AOC doesn't have those kinds of options. I mean, she auditioned for this role that she's now playing. Let's not forget that. She is basically an actress / bartender. How cliche is that? Oh, anyway. So she's a dumb bartender. She thinks Elon Musk is dumb. Yet Elon Musk sent a rocket into space and rescued astronauts that Joe Biden and his administration stranded in space for nearly 10 months. And he accomplished that in a matter of weeks. Now, obviously, a lot of preparation had already been done and everything like that. Yeah, I get it. But he accomplished that in a matter of weeks. He has built several businesses, some of which have made our lives a lot more convenient. Some may argue that that's not necessarily a good thing, and I get that. But at the same time, he has created things that have made people's lives better. What has she done? How has she made anyone's lives better? I mean, say what you will about Tesla, um, but he built it. He built an American car manufacturer. Now, I don't particularly like electric cars. I know some people do, even and even now conservatives have jumped on the EV bandwagon, pretty much just to just to support Elon Musk, and I get that. But the fact remains, he built a car company. He has built several businesses. Whatever you think of the businesses that he built, he did it with one of his main goals: to help people, to help make people's lives better. And she is going to come out here and say that he's dumb. Uh, Calling her an idiot would be an insult to idiots everywhere. Let's be honest. But getting back to the astronauts that Elon Musk was instrumental in getting rescued, the fact that they had to be rescued is a whole other issue, isn't it? Now, people, a lot of people on the left are saying that they weren't abandoned, that they weren't stranded, that they went up there with the knowledge that they could end up staying longer than they were initially scheduled. And to a certain extent, yeah, that's true. They were scheduled to be up there for 8 days. 8 days turned into 10 months. That is the very definition of stranded. But yet the left doesn't want to frame it that way, because that makes their boy Joe Biden look bad, and his administration, and all the people who were running his administration while he was sleeping or soiling his diapers or whatever he was doing while he was occupying the Oval Office. And in his while in his time in office, he had a documented history, a tragic history of leaving Americans behind. He left Americans behind in Afghanistan. He left those astronauts stranded on the International Space Station. He left numerous Americans like Mark Fogel. He let them rot in prisons around the world. And in less than 2 months, President Trump did what Biden, some people are framing it as couldn't do. I frame it as something that he just refused to do, flat out refused to do. He rescued hostages. He rescued the astronauts on the space station. He has lowered inflation. Prices on a lot of things are starting to come down. The left loves to say that eggs are so expensive. Well, they wouldn't be expensive if Biden didn't kill all the chickens. But that's a whole other issue that we won't get into right now. But in less than 2 months, President Trump and Elon Musk have made millions of people's lives better. And what has she done? Nothing. Let's take a look at this, though, because the narrative I touched on a little bit, but I want to really get into it. The narrative that these astronauts were not abandoned. The left is really trying to really trying to play that up. And the only way you can really do that, the only way you can really, and this is something that the left has traditionally done for decades now, but the only way you can do that is if you change the definition of stranded or abandoned. And they were brought up to the space station. Their ride had problems and left. And there was no way for them to get back. Now, some people will say that they weren't stranded, it was just delayed for 10 months. Okay. But in that intervening 10 months, they had no way to get back. So that means they were stranded. But the left, they don't see it that way. So I want to watch this and listen to this, because this tells the story.
Hey, let me just talk to that a little bit. There was this idea that the astronauts were stranded up there. If you're an astronaut, right, this is what you live for. You pray to be able to be chosen for a mission and going up into space. And there was the problem with the space liner, with the Boeing, but they could have, at any time, NASA could have done something to try and retrieve them, and they didn't need to, right? Because there's a cycle of, there were already two astronauts up there that had come up on this capsule. That capsule was still attached to the mission, and NASA decided it would be better, just for the normal logistics, to leave them up there for longer. And as the astronauts themselves said, it's like they loved being up there. So, it's like,
until they didn't love being up there, until they were asked point blank if they were abandoned. And I believe it was Butch who said yes. They were abandoned up there for political reasons. They didn't want to give a Trump ally a win. They didn't want to make Trump the opportunity to look good during the campaign. And anyone who denies that is just not living in reality. There is absolutely no reason for those astronauts who were scheduled to be there for 8 days end up there for 10 months. Now, things happen. I get that. Missions go sideways. I get that. Things happen. Delayed. They were up there for 8 weeks, so 2 months. So even 4 months. Okay. I get that. But 10 months? That makes absolutely no sense. None whatsoever. And well, let's finish listening to this.
If you're a space nerd, as they are and I am, it's like being sent to Hawaii for a 1 week vacation and finding out, no, actually you're going to be able to spend 8 months here or 10 months there. So this idea of them being stranded, I really felt was kind of the politics getting involved. And, NASA has contingency plans. NASA has, NASA understands what it takes and what the problems are. And so the decision to, leave them up there was not one of desperation, but was one of scheduling and logistics, which is very hard when it comes to space. So this, in many ways, this was very routine. Getting them down was not something special. This capsule was always up there waiting to bring the 2 astronauts who'd been there already and were scheduled to come down. But this one had 4 seats. That was part of the plan, so they could get them all down.
That was not part of the plan. I don't care what this guy or anyone else says. That was not part of the plan. And they're just using that to try and spin the narrative as they always do. Jersey Joe is in the chat, and he wants to remind all of you to hit that like button, subscribe, and share so that we can reach as many people as we possibly can. Thank you, Joe. All right. So we got these leftists who are trying to spin it so that they don't want to give Trump and Elon Musk credit, and they don't want to give Well, they especially don't want to give either one of them credit, let's be honest. But they don't want to give Elon Musk credit because the former golden boy, I mean, he was the environmental savior. His electric vehicles were going to save the planet. He was their golden child. And now that he's aligned himself with Trump, he's become the villain. And he has become the villain, and they are doing everything they possibly can to destroy his business. And I believe that I mean, when you take into account all the swatting that's been going on against all the conservative commentators, Owen Schroyer from InfoWars was the latest that I saw, swatted at gunpoint again. And let's just go, and don't forget, there was an InfoWars reporter who was recently killed in Austin. Alex Jones and InfoWars, they're based in Austin now, and this reporter was killed right outside his home. They want you dead, and I have no doubt that Elon Musk is on that list. I mean, he said himself he's gotten death threats. But the left, they are attacking Tesla dealerships, setting dealerships on fire, setting cars on fire. It kind of proves, again, and I've done many stories that prove that the whole climate thing is nothing but a hoax. That their activism has nothing to do with climate. It has to do with power and control. But they have they're attacking his dealerships and setting these cars on fire, and it just proves that it proves a number of things. But setting these electric vehicles on fire does more harm to the environment, considering all the toxic chemicals in the batteries that they use to power these things. Setting them on fire like that does more harm to the environment than you driving your combustion engine vehicle up and down the road for who knows how long. I guarantee you it does more damage than your F-150 or your F-250. And these attacks on these dealerships, they're happening all around the world. And look, here you see a couple of burned out, or a number of burned out Teslas at a Tesla dealership, and it's just they're not accomplishing anything. The vehicles that they destroy at these dealerships are insured. The cars that they're destroying at repair centers and things like that are insured. They've already been paid for. Excuse me. Elon Musk is not losing any money. You're hurting your fellow citizens who, up until recently, have been the same ones who voted the same way you did. Up until recently, like I said, most Tesla owners probably voted Democrat. Probably voted for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Tampon Tim, which we'll get to later on. I mean, I really don't. No, I do understand. I do understand that that they're just lunatics. They have no moral compass, and the only thing that matters is their narrative today. Because as we've already established, Elon Musk was their golden boy. And now he's not. Speaking of Tampon Tim, he is also on the he's also on the anti-Elon, anti-Tesla. I had this queued up to play, but I'm not going to play it because it's just disgusting. I'm sure you've all seen it by now. The guy digging in his pants and wiping it on a Tesla. And the funny thing is, they still haven't caught on that Teslas have a sentry mode. And so they're being recorded whenever they do this. And so a lot of them are being arrested for vandalism. And some of them even are being arrested for the ones that are setting these things on fire and firing into the dealerships with firearms. They're being arrested on domestic terrorism charges. You're only hurting yourself. So keep going. Keep it up. Keep it up. I think it is fantastic. Yeah, let me see if I can find this Tampon Tim, because this also is just the embodiment of their utter ridiculousness and their utter disdain for America and Americans. Yeah, here we go. This lays it all bare, what they're all about. Here we go.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
This guy is so out of touch, because it turns out, Kevin O'Leary pointed this out. Excuse me. Kevin O'Leary pointed this out on CNN, that the state of Minnesota has investments in Tesla. And so their pension fund, when Tesla takes a hit, their pension fund takes a hit. And he's celebrating that. These people are just evil and stupid, which is a dangerous combination. All right. I ran a little longer with that than I wanted to. So I want to talk about these activist judges, and especially the one who tried to block President Trump from deporting all of those Tren de Aragua gang members. And I mean, it's been pointed out numerous times by a number of people. Stephen Miller comes to mind, where he did it especially well on CNN. I don't know why they keep having him on, because between Stephen Miller and Scott Jennings, those people over at CNN just get wrecked on a regular basis. And it's fun to watch for us, but at some point you'd think they'd say, well, maybe they'll give Scott Jennings his own show. They did just give him a raise. So maybe things are turning around there. But regardless, this Judge James Boasberg, like I said, he tried to block President Trump from deporting those criminal gang members who entered the country illegally, by the way. These people just hate America and hate Americans. There is no circumstance under which I can imagine not wanting to get criminals who entered the country illegally out of the country. And no other country in the world operates that way. You go into another country and act a fool, you will be fortunate if you come out of it alive. Because their criminal justice systems around the world, not like ours. Not like ours. There's literally very little in the way of rights when it comes to criminals in those other countries. And people are all upset that we deported them and treated them unfairly and didn't give them due process. They were known gang. Put it this way: if any of those people had green cards, if any of them had visas, if any of them were permanent legal residents, if any of them were American citizens, they would have produced documentation to that effect, and they would not have gotten deported. They would have gone to jail. They would have gone into the criminal justice system in this country. They didn't produce any of that because they were here illegally, and they didn't have any of that. So kick rocks. Kick rocks. But this judge who ordered the deportations halted, he is now facing articles of impeachment. And I think this is absolutely fantastic. And those articles of impeachment were introduced by Representative Brandon Gill from Texas, a freshman representative, by the way. I wish he was my rep. I think he's up in North Dallas, Denton area, something like that. But he introduced these articles of impeachment, and I hope he introduces articles of impeachment for all the judges. And I think some other articles have been introduced. I'm not entirely sure. But these activist judges, and this guy was appointed by Obama, by the way, so that should tell you pretty much everything you need to know. And I don't want to hear any Justice Roberts nonsense about there's no such thing as Obama judges or Clinton judges or Bush judges or Trump judges. No. Yes, there are. Because there is absolutely no way that Obama would ever have appointed someone like Clarence Thomas. Come on. You appoint judges who you think are going to advance your agenda, who think the same way you do. And so freshman Representative Brandon Gill introduced articles of impeachment for Judge James Boasberg. And this is what we voted for. Brandon Gill has been everywhere. He has been a force to be reckoned with, even as a freshman representative. And I think he's going to be a rock star in the House, barring some barring some ridiculous efforts to get him out, which is entirely possible, but because of the work that he's doing, he has just been on fire. Let's take a look at these articles. It's a really quick. Well, I think it's 2 pages. I'm only going to show you the first page. Congressman Brandon Gill just introduced articles of impeachment. He is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors and should be removed from office. Absolutely. Resolved that James E. Boasberg, Chief Judge, United States Court of the District of Columbia, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following article of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. That's yes. We need more of this. We need a lot more of this. Hold these judges accountable. Don't let them get away with this nonsense anymore. Because for far too long, Republicans have just gone along to get along. And those days have got to be over. They've got to be over. If we just allow these judges to stop President Trump at every turn, we're not going to have much of a country left. And so I think I applaud him. I applaud the president for doing this and for not allowing these activist judges to run roughshod over the executive branch. Because like I said last week, we didn't have any judges step in when Biden ordered jabs for everybody and masks for everybody. Where were these activist judges then? Well, of course they agreed, so of course they weren't going to do anything about it. All right. I have bloviated for quite long enough, and I want to get a word in from our sponsor before we move on, because I got some important things I do want to talk about, and I only got 25 minutes left, and so we'll see how we'll see if I can get all in. What are the chances? Not very good. But I do want to get a word in from our sponsor right now. And our sponsor for today's show is Patriot Mobile. And now more than ever, it is of the utmost importance that we support these companies that value the same things that we do. Because in this, I mean, we're in perilous times right now, and we need to participate in and support the parallel economy and those companies that share our beliefs and our values, and the companies that actually do something about it. And Patriot Mobile is at the forefront of that. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier, and they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that support and fight for causes that you and I believe in. They are on the forefront of the abortion fight. They are in the forefront of human trafficking down at the border. They are at the forefront of the anti-alphabet mafia movement. They are at the forefront of fighting fentanyl trafficking. You name it. If you care about it, they are fighting for it. And so if you want to have a really good experience with your wireless carrier, when we switched, the difference was like night and day. So switch to Patriot Mobile right now and get a free month of service with the offer code Jackson. What you want to do is defend freedom with every call and text you make. So go to patriotmobile.com and use the promo code Jackson, or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Jackson today. All right, y'all. I am Biggie, and you are watching or listening to the Mission Ready Men briefing on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch Sackhead Sean with the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. And BZ with the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. So he will be on at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight. So be sure to check him out, like and subscribe and share all those guys' great shows, and pray for us that we excuse me, that we continue to have a positive impact. We've been growing, and so we appreciate everything that you guys are doing. We want to reach as many people as we possibly can, and we appreciate you guys for helping us do that. All right. I'm going to talk about manhood again. So get ready. Since man's fall from grace, since Adam partook of the apple, the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we have seen an acceleration, especially in modernity, of a slide of American masculinity towards passivity, fear, and even a disdain for men, for warriors, for people, for men who project true godly, God-centered masculinity. I mean, we see this in our media, and how the left views 21st century masculinity, because when you hear them talk about 21st century masculinity, what they're talking about is effeminate men. What they're talking about is men who don't have any skills, who don't have any direction, who don't have any who are not masculine, who just go along with whatever without any conviction. And a lot of that has to do with this culture that we live in. I mean, if you ask a young boy or girl, for that matter, but since we're talking about men, if you ask a young boy what someone needs to survive, what do you think their answer is going to be? It will probably be something along the lines of a phone and internet. Not necessarily in that order either. And that's sad. That is sad, and that's frankly a little frightening, because that basically crystallizes how we have failed as men in society. Men have failed to raise more men. Now, I've been talking about the instant gratification culture that we live in for probably close to 20 years. And when it first occurred to me, it's only gotten exponentially worse since then. I mean, you can realize you need something or want something, go on Amazon, and within 15 minutes, not even, within a minute, you can have that thing ordered, and you can expect it by the end of the day. in a lot of cases. And yes, that's convenient, but is that really beneficial? Is that really necessary? Of course, I think the answer to that is no. But there's a excuse me, there's a spiritual component to it as well. And there's a quote by someone named Aldo Leopold. And I don't know much about this guy. I just came across this quote, and it is perfect. And he says that there are two spiritual dangers in not owning a farm. One is the danger of supposing that breakfast comes from the grocery, and the other is believing that heat comes from the furnace. Wow. That's where we are. Kids today think that everything comes from the internet. Kids today think that if you want something, all you got to do is press a few buttons, and within a few hours, it can be yours. There's no sense of earning anything. There's no sense of anticipating anything. There's no sense of accomplishment when you get something that you want, that you don't have to save up for it, and you can just put it on a credit card. You don't have to work for it. You just got to hit a few buttons and order it. And that quote about breakfast coming from the grocery and heat coming from the furnace, I mean, that's some powerful stuff. That is some powerful stuff. We there was another quote. There was another quote by C.S. Lewis that I wanted to share with you as well, and then we'll move on and wrap it up. But this quote by C.S. Lewis is, when he said it, I don't think he had any idea of how prescient his words were going to be. But this right here is some more powerful stuff. In a sort of ghastly simplicity, we remove the organ and demand the function. We make men without chests and expect of them virtue and enterprise. Wow. We laugh at honor and are shocked to find traitors in our midst. We castrate and bid the geldings to be fruitful. Whoa. I don't think he had any idea how true those words were going to ring when he said them. Because right now we're facing a crisis of infertility, and the birth rates are going down, and then at the same time we're allowing doctors to castrate boys and sterilize girls. I mean, that quote from C.S. Lewis was spot on the money. Spot on. And so we have this situation where society has effectively crippled manhood and masculinity, and we need to do everything we possibly can to take it back. Well, how do we do that? Men need, and people in general, but again, as I said, we're talking about men. Men need skills to be able to do real things, to be able to handle any situation that comes their way, and be the type of man that can handle any situation as they arise, whether it's defending yourself, defending your family, whether it's doing the brakes on your vehicles, or comforting a person who's hurting. We've allowed those skills to fall by the wayside and erode. And there was a time when what we see of manhood in today's society would have been unthinkable. Men back in the day would have looked at a lot of us, a lot of what we've allowed to happen. They would have looked at us like we had lost, or like we had 6 heads, because they just wouldn't be able to fathom that a man couldn't take care of himself or his family, that a man would be dependent on the government for anything. I didn't save it, but I saw I think it was Nick Freitas, and you can check out his Twitter to see it. But there's a video of a guy who's saying that basically the government should be, we shouldn't have to do anything for ourselves, that the government should pay us, that the government should feed us, that the government should clothe us, that the government should house us. And men back in the day would have looked at somebody who said that, and it just would have been, it's unfathomable to me. And I can only imagine a cowboy back in the 1800s hearing something like that, or our founding fathers hearing something like that, and just being utterly bewildered that somebody could even think that way. So we need to get back to the notion that men need skills, like I said, and we need to do it with a godly mentality. And a godly man with skills brings his relationship with God and a certain level of skill and the strength that comes from that relationship with God to meet the world's needs. Those types of men are sorely lacking right now, and we got to bring them back. A man like that brings, like I said, his relationship with God, and with that comes the strength and humility, as well as confidence, skill, and ability to, as I said, meet the world's needs. And so I want you guys to think about that, and think about what skills you have and what you can do to meet the world's needs, because we need some, and with God we can meet those needs and then some. All right, y'all. As I said, I am long-winded. We have 9 minutes left. I may go a little over, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably leave one of these for tomorrow or for the next time we meet. But I do want to talk about Donna Lemonade. also known as Don Lemon. And he said something that just, I don't understand how he is still relevant, honestly. And I thought I had that. I thought I had that clip. Maybe I don't. And if not, there's others I can show you, because there's a few things that we can talk about. All right. Yeah, I don't have that. But basically, Don Lemon said that Black MAGA Republicans are not rational. He said that on oh yeah, here we go. He said it on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast, and it's just, it's utterly insulting to anyone with half a brain to say that because you think this certain way and I don't think this way, you must be somehow defective. You must be, you know, I don't have time to try and scan through it. It's on his it's on the Club Random podcast. You can check it out on YouTube. It's right around the hour mark where he says it. But I did want to get to this, because this is another, and just like Don Lemon thinking that that's basically showing that that's what he thinks of people who think differently than him. Here's Chuck Schumer doing the exact same thing. He's doing the exact same thing, and they apparently are done trying to hide it. They are done with keeping quiet. They're saying the quiet parts out loud at this point. And what? Good.
The Republican Party is a different kettle of fish than it used to be. And that's why we're fighting them so hard. They are controlled by a small group of wealthy, greedy people. And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes.
Yes. You didn't earn any of that money. So yeah, how dare you? But he goes on.
Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, my the land and water that I own, or my employees. They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united. The Republican Party is a different.
Well, let me just tell you something. Yes, you do not have the right to any of my money. The government does not have that right. And the money that I earned it. You had nothing to do with it. This is along the same lines as what Obama said when he said, you didn't build that. These people, they just hate you. They hate you. They hate your success. And if you show any inclination to want to keep the money that you earn, then you're greedy, you're selfish, and you're not smart enough to realize that what we're doing is really for your benefit. Taking your money from you and giving it to trans activists in Peru or whatever it was that they were doing, or tranny plays and whatever the case, because you're too stupid to understand. And Joy Behar said the same thing, I think, even in that same show. You're too stupid to realize that what we're doing is for your benefit. And so because of that, we just have to take everything that we can from you. And you'll thank us later. These people, they have got to go. They have got to go. Because this is, and thank God that President Trump is in there with JD Vance, and I think this is part of them fighting what hopefully is inevitable at this point. But we'll see. Anyway, folks, that is all I got for you this time. I will try to do better on the next one. Please remember to hit the like button, subscribe, share these episodes, so that we can continue to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and the message of hope and liberty that he promises to as many people as we possibly can, because we want to preserve it for future generations. And also, if you like the shirt I'm wearing, head over to missionreadymen.com, shop 7 Armors, and check out all those cool designs that have a message of faith and patriotism. missionreadymen.com, shop 7 Armors. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.